This is deep dish, right?
Yeah, but let's get deep.
So I'm going deep on both sides.
Trevor Jones, welcome to the platform, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
You here now?
I'm finally here, man. I thought you were playing with my emotions, but it feels great to see visually your room. So thanks again.
No, I'm glad you was able to bless the space, and I'm glad we were able to do this, man. I'm glad we were able to talk about your journey. And as black men, I always like to emphasize the black men when we're talking and we're building together. I just something about that. In community, and also just for people to know that we can work together, we can build, and we not as demonized as they make us seem in media with propaganda.
Yes.
And so I just think that's important anytime black men in spaces together building to emphasize and articulate that.
I agree.
And so look, man, let's I want to start a little bit from the beginning, then we can get into like the village culture,
Okay.
or whatever. Man, who is Trevor Jones, man? Who This is your introduction. You know what I'm saying?
Introduction. I love introductions because I need people to understand who I am before I talk about village culture. So Trevor, born in Sacramento, California. At the age of 9 or 8, moved to Mobile, Alabama. I was always the quiet kid, middle kid, 2 brothers and 1 sister. And, for me, I was always trying to find my way, always trying to find my niche. And, gravitating through life. It's been a great journey, but it's also been a challenging journey at times because I was always here and I never understood why. Right? I was on this earth and, looking at my life, and people would say it's a great life, you're doing great things, but at the end of the day, I felt like there was a void. And I wasn't the smartest kid. I was a BC student. Around my brothers and sister, they were pretty much geniuses, for lack of better words, because they're straight A's and it was really no effort. I played a little bit of sports. It wasn't my passion, so I didn't really stick to it. So I say all that to say, growing up, it was really, okay, why am I here? What am I good at? So it took a lot of years for me to come about and really find out the true purpose of Trevor and how I can make a difference in this world.
Man, so what were some of those challenges, man? Or like, what was some of that figuring out? Because I think it's important because we all trying to figure something out at certain parts of a journey in our life. And so what was some of that figuring out moments, and what were some of those tactics that helped you figure out, like, okay, maybe this is not the space I need to be in, or maybe I need to pivot over here and not over there?
Yeah, so great question. I think that to answer a simple, answer it simple to you is, it was always, when I was in school, what did I want to be when I finished high school? Did I want to go to college? When I went to college, if I went to college, what did I want to major in? And most people, they say they know what they want to do when they first get to college. For me, it was a challenge because when I was in high school, I was the teacher and the principal's pet. So I didn't really have to exert myself like most kids did because I was always the teacher assistant, the principal assistant. So I didn't really have to like grasp, okay, what is the next step? So once I was able to get in college and I started out as communications, I wanted to be an FBI agent. And once I looked at the world, I knew that probably wasn't the place for me to be in. So I switched it over to business management because I always felt like if I was in the right place, I can truly make a difference with not just people, but also business. So growing, and I realized, okay, believe it or not, I worked 2 jobs for 10 years. I paid through for my college, I paid for my house, and I paid for my car. So, and that was 7 days a week. And, life, it was like, I don't want to do that forever. So when I looked at it, I'm like, how can I make the most money? It took a while, right? But it taught me hard work was very, very important. And whenever I looked at a job, my first job was Round Table Pizza in Sacramento, Kiefer Boulevard. And one of the guys told me, he said, Trevor, I know you're just bussing or picking up the stuff that the customer left, the plates and the food. He's like, but take this job as if you were the president of the company. And from that moment on, I had my shirt starched. I had my pants starched because I gradually learned perception. Perception is reality. So all of these experiences, they lead me to a different path. And when I got to the corporate world, because I was a student assistant at one point, and they took a liking to me. I didn't know why, but they took a liking. And by doing that, that helped me with my confidence, right? It was something that I didn't want to do long term, work for the state, but it was a good stepping stone to see that I can do more than just the pizza thing, right? And I also got to the point where, do I even want to go to college, right? Because again, I didn't love school.
Yeah.
So when I talk to kids now, I don't really care if you like school or not. You need to finish it because there's a means to an end.
Right.
And I was a kid that didn't like school.
Yeah.
So all stepping stones, right? And then I got, when I moved to Nashville, I started working for a corporation. And this is why it's so important where we don't look at color when we're trying to progress. Color is good for certain situations, but if you're trying to progress, certain people are the only ones that can help you do it.
Right.
And when I first got in the corporate space, I had the leaders, the senior leaders, presidents, the VPs that saw Trevor and said, this guy is different.
Yeah.
This guy is different. And it was all of the stuff that I did before. My personality is coming out, right? Because I always thought I'm shy, I'm timid, I don't like saying anything. No, it wasn't. I wasn't in the right place to say it. So once I got older and a little more confident, I started to get into my own. And I knew my it. Yeah. And that's one thing I always want kids to know. Pay attention to your it. Initially, you may not know what it is, but kind of think about it. And the more you think about it, it will come to you. Yeah. And sometimes people tell you what it is. And people told me, okay, your it is people. Yeah. Right? You're able to relate to people. You make people feel that they can talk to you. Yeah. So all of that came to where we are now, and we'll talk about village culture once we get to that space.
So, man, this investment in black boys, man, that you take.
Kings.
Yeah, these kings, young men, right? Where did that come from, right? What is that catalyst? What does that look like? Because we understand the importance, the need to invest in our young black kids and our young men. Just because of all the trials and tribulations, the hurdles, the systemic issues and barriers from the school to prison pipeline to just distractions and things like that. Like, how did that shape and form like that process and pivot?
Wow. So for me, I was that kid, right? California, I didn't live in the best areas. Yeah. Gang infested, drug infested. So when I look at these kids, I look at me. Because the path could have went south immediately. But again, like I said earlier, somebody believed in me. Yeah. So understanding that struggle, as a kid, we didn't financially have the money for me to always get the haircut. Yeah. So, we had to get creative in the ways in which we got our haircut. Yeah. Once we were able to buy clippers, we started cutting each other's hair. When I was in high school, I bought clippers from working at Round Table Pizza, where I was able to pay for haircuts because I was cutting hair. Wow. Yeah, that's another story. Well, don't say wow like it was good. It was not a good haircut.
Well, I'm saying wow because, I got a barbering background. I got my master barber's license.
See, everybody says that, man.
No, I got it.
You like to fit them up. I'm going to write this one down.
No. I can bring it. I can bring it out.
You have receipts?
I got receipts. First time. Yeah, but hold on now. And look, we got Timothy in the studio. If I got to bring it out, I'm doing this. Y'all have to wait a minute.
He's looking for his wallet right now. He's looking for his paper.
Look, I'm looking for my paper, and I'm going to have this, because we ain't finna do this.
Well, while you do that, did you practice? Did you?
No. So like I had my dad is a master barber and an instructor.
Oh, okay.
He opened and runs the barbering program out of the sheriff department.
Nice.
Jeffrey Moore. So I need to connect y'all to General.
Mr. Moore.
But so I grew up around him cutting and mastering. So in 2012, 2013, we actually opened up a barbering school on Buchanan called My Three Sons Barber College. Nice. And I ran that for 2 years before I went to the Peace Corps. Nice. And that's where I got my technical, my theory, my practical training. Okay. I had to take the state boards and all that.
Yeah. So you make it sound like you're pretty good at it. Like you're the SME.
Yeah. Okay. I was cold. I'm probably I still do a little cutting, but back then I was. But you stop doing something. Your skills decline.
A little rusty.
You're a little rusty, but I was hard. I was hard in the paint.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I didn't like cutting. I did. I mean, you gave me that story. That was beautiful. But for me, I didn't like it. I just did it because I knew I needed some money to get somewhere else. But so we talk about village culture. It all came about when so during COVID, it hit all of us in different ways. And I tell this story a lot because this was really the reason why I was able to start Village Culture. A lot of the stuff that I did, it stopped. The things that I loved the most in life, working out, going to the barber shop.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it anymore. But I also was required to sit down and really listen.
Yeah.
And once I was able to do that, things started to happen. My emotions started to get heavy.
Yeah.
My understanding became a little more clear. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna pay for haircuts and all this. But long story short, that wasn't the purpose of God talking to me. Yeah, you're gonna take care of haircuts, but it's not coming out of your pocket.
Yeah.
And that was a message from a person I look up to. So once that happened, we started having conversations. That was 1 week. Next week, we're talking to the lawyer, getting the 501c3 started.
Yeah.
We got the 501c3. I'm like, man, this is my brand. We got the trademark for Village Culture. But the end game is I want people to understand how important a haircut is. Right?
What does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that? What does a haircut mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So it's a great question, and a lot of people ask that, but a lot of times they already know the answer.
Yeah.
Because I'm talking to men that are asking the question.
And it can mean different things.
Very true, and so that's the key, like understanding what it meant to you.
Yeah.
Right. For me, it helped me with my confidence because I wasn't very confident.
Right.
I didn't know why I wasn't, but at certain times I felt better, and that was typically because I got my hair cut. But another thing that was very, very key to me when I was in the barber chair or in the barber shop, it was relationships. I have been blessed to meet some people while in the barber chair and while in the barber shop that are my friends to this day.
Yeah.
And I'm talking 20 years, right?
Yeah.
So what I want kids to understand or young kings to understand, when you're in that chair, you are VIP. Right, because somebody's like, Trevor, you can do the barber schools.
Yeah.
My two brothers in, what was it again?
So you gonna look, man?
No,
my
bring
three
it to the
sons
story.
barber college. Yeah.
But for us, I don't want that to be the route.
Yeah.
Right, because I used to go to barber schools,
Yeah.
and it's not saying that some of them aren't good.
Yeah.
But it's get them in and get them out.
Yeah.
Right, that relationship a lot of times is not being built there.
Yeah.
Unless they
barber school and barber shop, two different
things.
Two different things. Yeah.
And I want them to understand, from my standpoint, I wasn't always able to go to the barber shop.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't go until probably I was in high school, the latter part of high school. So, I want them to say, yeah, man, I can have appointments.
Yeah.
And when I come in there, they know my name.
Yeah.
Somebody from Village Culture may come in.
Yeah.
We're having real conversations because when I first started, I realized really fast, kids don't really have confidence.
Yeah.
Right. And you get into your day to day, you don't really see it as much.
You got to instill it.
You have to, right? But the main thing about that is being consistent. Right. And that was my challenge. I wasn't really in a space where I could be consistent with my haircuts growing up because financially that wasn't the priority.
Right.
So with Village Culture, we're consistent.
Right.
Unless something happens where the family moves or, they just decide they no longer want to come and get their haircut by Village Culture, we're going to be there, twice a month until they graduate high school.
What are you seeing as far as the impact that you're having on these young kings?
Yeah.
And like even from what you're hearing from their mothers or their fathers on what this is doing for them.
Yeah.
Tell us some of those stories,
Oh,
man.
So first and foremost, a lot of times what I found was it's either the guardian, the grandmother, or the mom or aunt taking care of the child. And they don't really know about haircuts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Us men, we know. We like looking fresh. Moms don't really know that. As long as they comb their hair, brush their teeth, they're good. So that was an education for me because it's not really only benefiting the child. It's also benefiting the person that's taking care of that child, right? But, it leads into the confidence factor. When we first bring children in, we identify, of course, there's no eye contact. Like you and I were looking each other in the eye because we understand how important that is.
Yeah.
When we first saw each other, we greeted ourselves or greeted each other with a handshake. None of that.
Yeah.
So you don't get the eye contact. You may get a handshake, but it's not a solid, firm handshake.
Yeah.
As we continue, like we had one school in particular, it was a challenging school. right? It wasn't a school that I thought I was going to do when I started Village Culture, but it has been such a reward for me because I've learned so much, and it let me know being in a bubble is not always good. Right. Being in your day-to-day life is not always healthy. Sometimes you have to get outside, make a U-turn, pivot a little different so you can really get an understanding of you and also your surroundings. And by doing that, we were starting to see the more consistent that we were with the kids, the confidence started to change, right? So instead of them just coming with their head down, they'll come in looking at you, say your name, good handshake. And sometimes they'll even start the conversation. Now, like you said, you were a barber. These kids, most of them think they're superstar basketball players and they're football players, right? So it's kind of cool to gravitate, to let them know, okay, yeah, I get it. You might be good, but do you know it's probably a 1% chance that you'll make it to the next level? Right. So let's talk about something else, right? And it's not discouraging them, but they need to understand there's other outs outside of sports. Make that number 2 opposed to number 1.
Yeah. What type of impact from these young men, especially these athletes that you're dealing with, that these future athletes, like how does that translate once they leave the barbershop?
Oh man.
Like from the field to, because when you talk about confidence, it's just not how you look, right? It's about how you perform. It's about how you carry yourself, maybe how you dress. It's like a whole etiquette thing, right? What is the like? Give us a story, man. Just one of the youth, man. You gotta give us a personal one, man.
So I have a couple, right? I have a story that was, not so fun. It was this person didn't have a lot of family, so that said, the family didn't really have the resources to consistently take care of the kid, and we were able to step in and see that, right? See that change. But the funny story is I have one kid, now he has swag before he started getting consistent haircuts, right? He already had it. The haircut wasn't there.
Right.
Oh my God.
He had the sauce, but he ain't
Bro, once he got that haircut, he gets out the chair. Hey man, let me see that mirror again. I'm like, bro, you're not that fresh. Yeah, man, I got 2 girlfriends. Oh, really? You have 2 girlfriends? Yeah. Wait till they see my haircut.
Oh man.
So that type of stuff, talking to high school and middle school kids, it's amazing, right? Because to them, that is so important. Right. Their image, how they look to others.
Being somebody that interacts and engages with young men on a consistent basis, what is your thought process on where we are seeing our youth kind of go and kind of be drawn to today? Because I know you see it every day.
I do.
They're drawn to the more flamboyant actors and the entertainers, and that's there. Like, hey man, this is what I gotta do to get that. So what are you seeing effects is playing on these young kids, these young men mentally?
Well, so this is the thing. It's several different things, but one that I initially noticed immediately is, and I tell people all the time, these kids didn't have to be here. That wasn't something, hey mom, hey God, I'm ready to come with this particular parent. No, they didn't ask for that. So knowing that, it hurts my heart because these kids are suffering. Like they're really, haircut is just a piece of the environment in which they're faced with when they leave school. Sometimes school is their safe haven. But I also like people to understand the energy that kids have, you can never emulate it. Right. Our stresses are not their stresses. Right. So when I used to get haircuts twice a week, it wasn't because I had a lot of hair. Right. It was because I needed that energy, right? I needed that swag. So when I see the kids that don't have it, it really hurts me because I can do this little piece, right? And I like to say it's a seed, right? Because it's a building block. And if we look at, plants and trees, it doesn't happen immediately. Right. But if we continually, water it, it grows, and it can grow to be great. Because I've seen those kids that had the father figure where they brought them in the barber shop, right? Versus the kid that a friend brought them in or a grandmother brought them in, and the difference in the swag.
We gotta stay there because I think I had my father in my life full time, and I can tell there's a difference, like amongst my peers, especially when we was going through high school, of like the things that I was getting into, the things they was getting into, but also the confidence that I had in myself and my last name. Right? Talk about that a little bit, even deeper about the importance of father figures or men that are father. You know, even if you're not a biological father of a child, but just having a father figure in your life. And I feel like that is that's what you all are bringing to the table.
Oh man, we're bringing love, and from a man standpoint,
it's
a healthy love, a judgment-free love, where you don't really get that if you don't have a father. And I can honestly say, I think the way men now are raising children is probably a little bit different from the way I used to see it when I was growing up. I didn't have uncles that would say, "Hey, Trevor, I love you." Right? They may take me to the store or take me out to eat. That was the way they showed me love. But now the friends that I hang around, "Hey, I love you, son. I love you," right? I look you in the eye and I tell you that. So it's totally different, like you said, when you have a father that loves you and tells you the importance of your name. But what I see in a lot of these schools are parents and guardians trying to figure it out. So they don't have the time to tell you. Some of them do, but some of them are just trying to figure it out and they don't have the time to tell you, "I love you." Right. Or let's sit down and just talk. Right. So, that is one of the concerning things. But when I talk to the moms, the single moms and the guardians, especially the moms, they don't really like going to the barbershop. Right? Because it's our place. It's the poor man's country club, as they call it, right? Where we can have real conversations. So a single mom, she may be attractive. That is not the place she wants to go, because then she's that one they're going to talk about. And that's that kid's mom. Right? So, that's another thing we bring to the table where, we take care of them and we can take them to the barbershop if we need to. But it's a totally different thing compared to a father versus a mom versus the guardian, because sometimes a kid wants to be around a father figure, but all they have is their mom. And it automatically shows, right? Because a mom, as they get older, they can't just hug and kiss on their boy. But a father can. Right? So it automatically separates. So to your point, man, like you having your father around, having a present father around is a game changer, because at the end of the day, no matter what you do in life, you're never going to stray too far from your foundation. These kids don't have foundations. So that's where we're trying to step in. And that's why, me doing village culture is not cool. It's not cute. It's a game-changing thing, because it's a foundation, man. It's nothing like a foundation. So us being consistent, us being that shoulder where they can call us and say, "Bro, like I need to talk." That's where we're going to be able to make that difference, not only in Nashville, but as we grow, it's going to be in cities in different states where we're going to have that true network of a village feel where, I can talk to Jerome, I can talk to, whoever that I need to speak with, and they're going to be there to talk to me back.
What do you want village culture to mean? Put like this: say I don't know you, right? And I just met you, right? You got an elevated speech. And I said, you say, "Oh, I see your hat, I see your drip." I said, "Village culture, what is that, man? What is that? What does that mean? What is that?" And how would you break that down?
Man, I can do it several different ways depending on how I feel. But first and foremost, thanks again for bringing me on this show, man. I'm so appreciative. Deep Dish is a place. I feel good about it. But to answer your question, it can be purpose, or it can be let's have a seat. Because like I told you before, I get so carried away with it because it's so passionate to me when I talk about us and knowing where we can go with this. So, elevator, that's always the easy answer. Nonprofit, we sponsor haircuts for the underserved. We pay for the haircuts twice a month until they graduate high school. During that time is when we have sit downs. We have 45 minutes to an hour to just have a conversation. You see my shirt. I always talk about my shirt because I had to get this made because my son really made a difference when he told me this. We're sitting down, he's asking all these questions. I'm like, man, come on, bro. And he noticed that. And he's 4 now, he was 3 when he told me this. And he said, Daddy, it's just a conversation. Man, all right. So
Yeah.
the importance of a conversation, right? Dialogue, the back and forth. You can't make that up.
No.
Right? You can't make emotions up. You can't make certain conversations up, because if it's going, it's just going to go.
It's flowing. Yeah.
Right? So when I talk about village culture, I always talk about that, right? The barber chair, and how important it is, how it made you feel if you're a guy, or how it made the kids feel, and also where we're going with this.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I was a kid that had to walk a lot because I didn't have the transportation to get the barbershop haircut, so I had to go to my friend's house, $3 or $4, and eventually we want to get to a place where we have a bus. Village culture bus, barber chairs in it, where we can go,
Mobile bus, mobile barber
go to them, right? Because that is really going to change the game. It's going to help the market from every aspect, because perception, right?
Yeah.
You're looking at yourself, you're feeling better. And look, man, they pulled up on me.
Yeah.
They came to my house, and they took care of my haircut.
But and this is big, because again, I think you mentioned in the beginning, like it's not nothing really like this on a consistent basis. You might have some people like,
Back to
hey,
school.
okay, I'm no back to school events, or these things, we get backpacks, we haircuts and stuff like this. But something that consistently is rooted in confidence and young man etiquette, right? We're gonna teach you how to have a conversation. We're gonna build confidence in this conversation, and then we're gonna do this. Make sure it's consistent twice a month.
Exactly.
You're gonna make sure you fresh, you clean. We're gonna converse. We're gonna catch up. Make sure everything good. We're gonna take that pressure off of grandmama, mama. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it may be. Maybe even father. Depends on the situation.
Yeah.
We're gonna take that pressure, and we're gonna make sure you good and you clean. You can confident. Even if you don't have the freshest shoes, you can have the freshest haircut. Or you don't have the freshest garments. Your haircut gonna be clean. You're gonna have whatever you need. And I just think that's crucial to do that. But you pouring so much more in with just that masculine man energy, right? That I think that we all need to be poured. That's important, and that's value.
Value, man. And it's good that you say that. So when I first started, I'm like, okay, yeah, we're gonna tell them, this is a place that is village culture, barbershop that works with village culture. But then I thought, man, how did I feel knowing that I can go, when I was growing up, to a barber that I liked?
Yeah.
Right. So once I really just thought about that even more, I'm like, no, I'm not going to tell them where they can go.
Yeah.
You go to the barber you want to go to. Village culture, we're going to have a conversation with that barber, let them know, okay, this is what we're doing. Hopefully they're on the same page and we can, continue that partnership.
Yeah.
But they have the option to pick the barber that they want to go and see.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and that is a good thing as well, because a lot of times they're comfortable with a barber. They just don't have the ability to go consistently.
Right. At the prices. Hair barber, different prices.
And I was going to say that as well. I'm glad you brought that up, because, I kind of got sidetracked. But people ask, do the barbers volunteer? No, you're paying. These kids are paying customers.
Yeah.
And they are treated that way.
Yeah.
This is my purpose, right? This is my purpose. This is what God told me to do. I'm not putting it on a barber.
Yeah.
So when I come in, when that child comes in, okay, 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
He's coming in at 3 o'clock. What do you want?
Yeah.
Right? Just like if you go to the barbershop.
Like any other regular customer service. Regular day, nothing.
Yes.
We ain't no discounts, no nothing.
Nothing.
We want the same top-notch service, because we're gonna pay the same top-notch amount.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Exactly.
That's amazing. Do you get barbers that reach out to you?
Oh, of course,
Yeah.
all the time. And sometimes I feel bad because I can't. I mean, I want every barber to eat.
Yeah.
Right? But as we grow, that will happen.
Yeah.
But I'm very strategic on opening it up too much, because I don't want to bring a child on and not be able to take care of that child. When we look at price, it's not a lot. It's like $600 a month, maybe a little more, for a year of haircuts.
Yeah.
But I don't want to keep children coming on if I can't take care of that year.
Right.
And once we expand and get to the schools, in a large scale aspect, we're going to be able to, work with a lot more barbers.
How can people pour into village culture? Say like a man or woman, black or white, brown, yellow, green, whatever, and say, hey, I like what Trevor and village culture is doing. I want to pour into this.
Yeah.
How can they pour into that? And if they say that they're not a barber, but they say, hey, I love that. I understand the importance of building self-esteem, confidence, worth, value. How can I pour in this?
Well, and we all know with it being a nonprofit, donations, and I like to say seed, right?
Yeah.
Because it's going to be paid back.
Right.
That's key. That's the number one thing, because once we do that, we can hit and we can break every barrier.
Yeah.
That's very important, but also word of mouth. I met you from word of mouth. We saw each other at the museum, and we started talking, and energy is real. Yeah. And even though it's been 5 years, we were able to get together and make that.
He's lying. It ain't been no 5 years. I swear, when people look, I gotta make a PSA announcement. Look, when y'all come on Deep Dish, don't act like it's been 5 years since we've been trying to get this interview. I understand. Look, all right, I get it. It'd be 2 weeks and people think it's 10 years.
No.
Look,
all right,
man.
a year. I'll take that back. I digress. It's been a year.
It was just spring. It was just this spring.
Okay. It will felt like a year. How about that? Can we compromise on that?
Look, see. That's the last time y'all gonna see Trevor. Yeah, I get a good look and listen.
One and done. I get it. I'm going to the league. But it's definitely word of mouth, right?
Yeah.
And then you mentioned it. We're going to need more barbers.
Yeah.
Right? Because some kids don't have a barber.
Yeah.
I had one kid when we went to his school. This school was gracious enough to have a barber chair.
Yeah.
So I brought a barber in, and the barber comes and cuts the hair. And the kid, he sat down. I was like, man, thank you. He's like, I haven't had a haircut in a year.
Man.
Bro, I almost cried. I'm like, if I don't get a haircut, it's because either I don't want to go to the shop or the barber's not coming to my house.
Yeah.
Options.
Yeah.
This kid has no options. And he was like in 9th grade.
And I think we can take those things for granted.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
know what
Our
I'm saying?
bubble.
Like we can take those things for granted. And we all know like how important it is to look and feel good. When you look good, you feel good. When you look good, you play good. All those, when you perform good, all of those things. And so that's why I think for me it's always important, like how can people pour into them? Because once they listening, like everybody can relate to wanting to feel their best and look their best. And that looking their best is gonna look different for different people, right? But to know that like you can be a community member and pour into youth, especially young man, to make sure like, hey, if you're not looking your best, that may trigger you to start bullying somebody.
And that's it.
It's because you getting bullied. Like those type of things, like it'd be interesting to even see the if there was some type of statistical thing you can see is like how many bullies don't get their haircuts enough.
Oh, that's a lot.
That type of thing.
It's a lot.
Like,
seriously.
or don't have like where's that bullying coming from? I bet it's self-confidence and value. Like I don't feel good about myself. So I'm gonna make sure I project that on every day at school on other students that may have their fresh lineup. They may have those fresh garments.
But to add to that, so imagine like if you're walking on the street, right? And we don't like to say this, but everyone does it. You're walking on the street and you see a kid that does not have a haircut.
Yeah.
Oh, he's poor. Right? He doesn't have anything.
Yeah.
Now, if we see an adult doing it, okay, we might look at what he has on, what shoes, because at that point you have an option.
Right.
But kids, it's not okay, they have money. It's okay, yeah, he's not. He doesn't have anything. And they shouldn't be looked at like that.
Right.
But to answer your question, donations, word of mouth, follow the movement.
Yeah.
Follow the movement. That's key, man, because I want people to understand, like, oh, yeah, we're in Nashville now, but we're going to move. We're moving. We're going to be in, hopefully, if not 50 states, as many states as possible, because there's a kid that needs help in every city,
we're gonna
every
be global with it.
Global.
It's gonna be
global.
It's kids that need haircuts all over the world.
All over the world. So, that's key. And then, like you said, the barber, we need barbers. We're always going to need barbers and advocates, man. You say you had, and he doesn't like this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Reggie Ford was on there with you. Guy, man, that's that guy, man. He's a visionary.
Yeah.
Right? And, to be so young and understand it's okay to be vulnerable. It's tremendous, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm one of his biggest fans because how many men do we know that can say, man, I need to talk, dude?
Yeah.
Like, for real.
Yeah, not for real. Yeah.
I have close homeboys that may not do that.
Yeah,
But he's telling the world.
Yeah, now we carry it and we just carry it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we seen our fathers do it, or our grandfathers, and just a cycle. And so we like, man, it's part of being a man, right?
Part of being a man.
We adapted that as DNA. It's like, this is what, but we don't complain, we don't cry, we just get through it.
Bro.
We figure it out.
Bro, From one point, I didn't cry for 30 years, man.
Man, when I was talking to Reggie, I had mentioned him. I've only seen my father cry one time,
Yeah.
and that was when my grandmother passed away. And when I seen him like facing the pillow, I was like, damn. I haven't seen him cry. This was 2005, 2004, 2005. I was in freshman high school at Pearl Cone, and I ain't seen him cry since then. Not before then, and not since then.
Wow.
And then I look at myself like, when was the last time I cried?
Right.
And it's been this.
But see, and this is where
Shout out to Reggie, man. Shout out to Reggie.
Shout out. You know, and the thing is, where I think it's so important to talk about that, bring that conversation up, is because once you cry,
Yeah.
you feel so much better, man.
Yeah.
You feel so much better, and you don't know the stresses that are on your shoulders.
Right.
Us, man, we have a lot.
Yeah.
We have a lot.
For sure.
You know, and if you don't have a spouse, you don't have a stand-up lady like I do, you know what I mean? You're not gonna be able to deal with it. At some point, you're gonna break.
Yeah.
Right? So we all need somebody that we can rely on. Not saying you gotta cry to everybody.
Right.
You can't just walk down the street and be like, nah, bro, don't do that. But it's healthy
Yeah.
to cry. So
Yeah.
somebody needs to find somebody that's gonna stand up with them and say, bro, I love you,
Yeah.
and keep going.
Yeah.
Right? No one is a robot.
Man. Fundraiser you got coming up.
Oh man.
And so
Look, we're not gonna keep talking about Reggie.
Nah, we got Joe.
But Reggie's part of the fundraiser. Again, shout out Reggie. He and I, we have conversations a lot, and you know, it's funny. So I'm glad it's perfect time. It's September 24th at 12 o'clock. But it's during our conversations, our first conversation, it was, do you still work out? Because he played football at NBA, Vanderbilt. He's like, nah, man, once I finished football, I was done. I'm like, come on, man, I work out. You're still in shape.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I do yoga. Oh, really? You do yoga? He said, yeah, that's all I do now. So all of that led to September 24th, where he was like, man, I want to give back to village culture. And I don't want anything out of it, but I just want to educate people on yoga. And if I can do it, I would love to do it for village culture. So
Wow.
he has offered, and he set up the location for us, and he's going to educate us, men and women. And I thought it was important for us to have couples.
Yeah.
Because it's good to see your friend or whoever come with you and go through the journey together.
Yeah.
And not saying everybody have to have a couple, you can come by yourself, but we're going to use this platform to educate us as men and some women as well, that they can do yoga and it makes them feel better.
Yeah.
You know, for the ones that don't cry. You know,
Right.
they get, that'll be their outlet.
That'd be me. I need that.
Just don't do it that day, man.
I need some
Come,
yoga.
but don't break it down, but if you do, I'll get you some tissue, man. It's all good.
Oh man, hey Trevor, look, man, we're gonna have to bring you back, man.
Yeah,
Is
please
it anything? Because this for people that's listening, like this is gonna be a cycle. You're coming over here on a regular guest, because I think it's important to talk about young men, how to point a young man, and just the work that you're doing on a consistent basis, and to just get your thought process on what's going on in the country and in our city when it's come to young men and what people can do to be pouring into them, regardless of where they are. You know, and so I definitely want to just make that note for people that's listening and watching. Secondly, man, one, tell us how can people find you, and then just anything else that you want to leave us with.
Man, I love that. Thanks. So Village Culture, of course, we're on several platforms, at Village Culture, Instagram, we have a Facebook, we have a website. Of course, it's Kulture, Village Culture. You'll pull us up. You know, if we would love for you to donate or plant a seed, we have the major paying apps, Cash App, Venmo, Village Culture, of course.
Yeah.
That's definitely key. And again, I would love to come back, but most importantly, I want people to follow the movement. I want people to come to our fundraiser. If you can't come, you can always donate. But I want to say to you, keep doing what you're doing. I think it's so important where we speak to us that are doing well.
Yeah.
Right. We don't like to give flowers. If I had some, I would give you some right now,
here.
because it's not easy, for one, doing a show. For two, staying consistent with people on your show. So keep your platform going. You know, I look over the media and I look over different, you know, things, and I see your name out there.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man, because
appreciate it.
you're going to be somebody that a kid, they may strive to be you.
Yeah, no.
Right? So keep being great.
Yeah, no,
keep being
thank you.
great.
I appreciate that.
For sure.
Nah, and y'all, hey, look, you motivate me and so many others, because that's how I look at it. I was like, man, like village culture, they doing, all right, let me step up. Oh, damn, they doing this because I look at it as we all can build together.
Yeah.
And like, I don't see it as no unhealthy competition. I see it as like, okay, they building, I need to be building more
let's
with
do it
them.
together.
Let's do it together.
Yeah.
And
It's
that's
a
the
village.
thing. And it's a village.
Yeah.
And it's just all, man, it's all community, man. Whatever we
is.
do, we want to bring community with us. And I think it liberates other people when they see other, especially black men working together. Like, oh, they can do this.
We can do it.
And if it's out of the realms of the typical things that they should always highlight us in, which is entertainers or athletes.
Sport, yep.
And so we can be building in other avenues that motivates young men
you're
and other
right.
people to do other things. Whether it may be a barber,
May
you know
be
what
a
I'm saying?
barber.
It may be a barber, you know. And so, man, I just appreciate like just
Sure.
the
But one thing
consistency
before you close it out,
no, you closing it.
I
out. Go
want
ahead.
every man
Yeah,
to sit back and think. Think about how you felt,
yeah,
right? Think about your first haircut. Think about when you got a messed up haircut.
Yeah.
Think about when you went on your first date, when you got married, when you took a trip. What'd you do? You got a haircut.
boy, you had that haircut. Had to
Come
be.
on, I didn't go anywhere unless I got a
Yeah,
haircut.
they're like-
So keep that on the forefront when you look at village culture, because we're taking care of the kids where they can start looking the same way
right.
and having those same memories. I remember all of those.
Yeah.
Right? It was that important.
Right.
So, you know, that's where I want, you know, don't think about Trevor. Just think about the big picture, village culture, the kids, the impact we're going to make on this world, one haircut at a time. You know, so appreciate you, man.
man.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.